I think we are preparing for the season, right? And the season starts with the Durand Cup. You can only plan with what is in front of you. You cannot plan whatever you are not aware of. So I think we have maintained that we want to plan things basis what is in front of us. In front of us is the Durand Cup, and hence we are preparing in that manner. Basically, you cannot plan for the uncertainty. You can plan for whatever is in front of you, and hence we have planned for what is in front of us. And I think you'll see everybody is here, including all the foreign staff, the players. So I think we are in the right direction when it comes to that. Now, what will happen is not in my hands, your hands, or anyone's hands. So working on assumptions is not something which you, as an organization, anyone can work. So we have to just go by the flow, and we're all professionals. We are getting paid, so we have to behave professionally. And I think we are trying to do whatever is best in our capacity to keep focus on what is in front of us. And Durand Cup is part of the AIFF calendar. It's an official competition. We are the defending champions. It's a tournament which is organized by the armed forces. So there's a respect to the current scenario. So I think these are the simple things for us to take the decisions, necessary decisions, and hence we are preparing for that. And always, every season is to be better than what we are doing last season. Is to take the step ahead. It may not just mean by the performance on the pitch, but it should also mean as a club how we are growing in terms of other aspects than the performance of the first team. When we started in the first season, you were there. We maintained and we spoke about continuity. We maintained about creating an identity. We maintained about trying to reach out to different states as far as the youth programs are concerned, etc., etc. So I think it's still a long way to go, but I think we are on the right track, if I can say so, in terms of all these three things. And every season comes with its own challenges, its own situations and circumstances. It's about how best we can do, which is better than what we did the previous season. Ideally speaking, we would have liked the matches to be here, so it's easy for us not to travel also. But we represent the other parts of the Northeast also. So for us, Shillong is also. We were hoping that we get to play in Imphal, because that's something that we have not been to do any meaningful work as a football club in Manipur. But unfortunately, we were not there last year. In the first year, we played here, Guwahati. Second year, we played in Kokrajhar. So third year, now we are playing in Shillong. So I think it's good for us as a club to be representing our areas in different states of the Northeast. Yeah, I think, I mean, the coach will also speak about that, but the idea was to ensure that the guys who performed well, we can try and maintain the core of the team. It's good that we are able to do so, because in the current situation in the Indian market, it's very difficult to try and do that. But we are happy that we are able to maintain most of the squad. As of now, we have had three new additions in the foreign contingent and two new additions in the Indian boys. So I think we're happy with what we have. The rest of the squad remains the same. We have not just continued, I think, with 2 or 3 Indian players. So the core of the Indian team remains, because at the end of the day, the Indian team, the Indian players is something that forms the backbone of the team, because they are in numbers the maximum in a playing 11. So I think it's always better to strengthen the Indian squad to maintain that you upgrade yourself with the players. So I think we are able to do that. Most of our players, right from the first season to now, have themselves grown in their own way. We can see that on the pitch. We can see that in their selection to various teams within the national teams, whether it's the under 23 or the senior boys. So I think that means that the work that is done by the coaching staff is good, because the boys are progressing, the team is progressing. So I think why change, then things are good. So I think from that front, I think we are probably on the right track, I would say.
I think, first of all, we're talking about one of the biggest tournaments in the world, one of the oldest tournaments in the world. To put it only for Indian players, sometimes they can say, yeah, it's very good, but the team is not Indian players only. You know, the question is, when you bring in foreigners to a league, is to improve the Indian players, to be an example for the Indian players. Then you bring in a foreign player who will be staying 3 months, 4 months without competition. Then what you ask for him in ISL, when the league starts and he needs to play, he has absolutely no rhythm. Then it's a handicap. You know, it's something. I think it's something wrong. For me, they should play. We'll make Durand Cup as a strong competition, as a pre-season, for me, should be no members of even in the bench to make 5. It's better to make maybe 7 or 8. We need every player to play. We need the players to get competition, to be ready for Super Cup or for ISL or for national team. If we put you do only Indian players at the same time, they will not competing with stronger squad in front of them. Then the level will stay always the same or goes down. I think more difficult for a striker, Indian striker against a strong defense, to be very difficult. It's better. And for Indian defender against a very strong striker, he will learn much better. Then I think it's a non-question about to take out foreigner or not. We're talking about players already in the league.
So the idea currently is we'll definitely play the home matches till December end in Guwahati because the national games are in Meghalaya. So obviously the competition will be there. We will like to go and play a few matches in Shillong again in the second half of the season. We would ideally even looking at the possibility of playing a match in Imphal. This is how the Durand Cup goes and how the facilities are there. We are monitoring that. If that is good, then we obviously will request the Indian Super League to have a look at the venue, and if that's a possibility, ideally we would want to go and play a game in Imphal for sure. So that's the plan. So we continue playing here in Guwahati. Given an opportunity, we are able to move 2 or 3 games in Shillong, we'll do that, and maybe 1 or 2 games in Imphal if that's a possibility, we'll do. But the base is Guwahati. The team stays here. We train here. Base is always going to be Guwahati. But the idea is that we want to go more out. There is a conversation which is happening parallelly with Arunachal Pradesh government on possibility in the next year, next season that is, to try and play a possible match in Itanagar when the new stadium is likely to come up by then. बहुत कुछ अच्छा हो सकता है, लेकिन at the end of the day जो है उससे हमको काम चलाना है. जितना सोचेंगे उतना मुश्किल होता है. बट अगर एक सिंपल प्रिंसिपल रखेंगे कि जो भी हम करें एज अ क्लब, इन सम वे हम इंडियन फुटबॉल को बेटर करने में कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं, ये सोच से अगर आप काम करेंगे तो आप राइट ट्रैक पे हमेशा रहेंगे. और ये मेरा लास्ट 24 ईयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस है दैट बाहर कुछ भी होने दो, वो तुम्हारे हाथ में नहीं है. तुम्हारे हाथ में आप क्या करते हो वो आपके हाथ में. तो एटलीस्ट ट्राई एंड डू वट एवर इज़ पॉसिबल विच कैन हेल्प इंडियन फुटबॉल ग्रो विद योर ओन वे ऑफ डूइंग. For me, the national team or the national teams, whether it's men's or women's, senior or youth team, comes first before any club activity. That's a principle, because unless and until Indian football as a whole does well, 1 club, 2 clubs, 10 clubs can never do well on their own. Today we can become bigger if Indian football is bigger, right? So that thought process has to be very clear in your mindset when you are working in Indian football. I mean, it's very easy to blame people. इसने अच्छा नहीं किया, उसने अच्छा नहीं किया. But at the end of the day, they have got their own limitations, circumstances, which we all sitting here do not know what the issues are, right? Secondly, people talk about individuals. ये अच्छा नहीं है, वो अच्छा नहीं है. But at the end of the day, they are sitting in the chair. You have to respect the chair. The person will come and go, but the chair will remain there. So I think thought process has to be very clear in what you want to achieve. And I think with the current management that we have, with the owners that we have, I think they are also in sync, because at the end of the day, we know John is not a corporate like the other owners. He's an individual person who's putting his personal money in running a football club. So you've got a passionate owner. That's a very clear indicator for the sport and for Indian football. So I think as a combination, we are working very well to try and see how we can, through our work, try and benefit Indian football. And that's the simple principle that we work on. होता है, हैम्पर होता है ना, बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव द कैलेंडर प्रॉपर्ली, यू कैन नॉट प्लान. टुडे वी आर विद अ सिंगल माइंडसेट कि हमारा प्री सीजन चालू होना है, हमने प्लान किया, हमने चालू किया और हमने किया है. अभी इसमें अगर अलग कुछ अलग होता है तो देन द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज आर वेरी वेरी प्रॉब्लमैटिक फॉर एवरी क्लब, नॉट जस्ट अस. So that impacts a lot. There is no question about it. I mean, there is no two ways about it to just color the picture very rosy and everything. There are issues, but currently the Indian football, there is so much of negativity that we don't need that negativity. All of us, including you all, the players, the coaches, we want Indian football to grow. हम जितना वो निगेटिविटी के बारे में बात करते रहेंगे हम लोग ग्रो नहीं होने वाले. So it's better to just look at the positive things and function is what I believe in, and I'm trying to do that only.
Well, for the first question,
He's on the beach all the time because he used to send pictures on the beach with his feet up, a nice thing, and I'm sitting in the summer, hot everywhere, and he's just there enjoying all the beach. So that is what he did on the vacation, to be very honest.
friends like you who need enemies. No, you need to, what we do first when we finish the season is just switch off everything. You need that 10, 15 days, totally clean your brain, clean everything, and start to think with brain, because when you're in the competition sometimes, or you just finish competition like we finished the Super Cup, with that disappointment in penalties, and you start looking at which is the squad you need to continue with, who's the players who are going to stay, who's the players who are going to not stay, who you can bring. The first thought is try to think with your brain. There are some players I'm very, very sad they're not here in this moment, but in the end we're professional. Our objective is to be loyal to the club, and that's important. This is why we say, okay, he's a great player, he's a great person, but what we're looking for, we need to go forward. Maybe we may be mistaken, but our aim is to grow up more. And of course, in holidays, you always say, okay, there are holidays for the players. Some rest for staff also. But in the end, the players, I think for 1 month now, they've been working. Fitness coach, since the end of last month, they all receive work to do. And if the player have work to do, what about me? I need to work double. And my job is my laptop, telephone with the Mandar, I think, every day, 2-3 times a day. And also go to the many fields to watch games, to watch players. We never know. And watch a lot of games, and receiving a lot of profiles. And when you receive a lot of profiles, you need to see them. Even the player, you know him very well, or you don't know him, you say, no, maybe it's not good, and then you lose a chance to bring. And the most difficult point in that it's not easy to attract players to come. I appreciate a lot the efforts our local players and foreign players they do to stay and to come to us, because there's many points who make it very difficult to come. Sometimes you go for one player and suddenly anyone who just threw out the name, I don't know how, and other clubs, we're working sometimes for other clubs too, because we scout, we look, we work, and suddenly the other clubs comes and say, hey, we offer you double. Then the only thing we say, good luck. Then you go for another one, and you go for another one, and you go for another one. Negotiating, talking, trying to convince, showing them the good things and not the good things to come. In the end, it's a process, and we've been working for the last 2 months, really very hard. Also, thanks to Mitchell, who's sitting with me here, talking to the foreign players, telling them how is it here. It's not so bad that what we think when we never came to this league. And also, we did a great job convincing the players to come. Because I tell you, sometimes I read in social media, oh, why you don't bring this one? Why you don't do this one? Why you do that? Hey, come on. It's a very difficult job. And thank you also to everyone in the office. They've been working hard all the summer. Visas, changing things. They've been working very hard. It's not Mandar, Juan Pedro, Michel, Parthib, or Redeem sitting here on our name. We have a lot of family behind us, working hard. They work very hard, leaving their family, no holidays at all, that we can start with you. Okay.
बहुत टाइम बाद खेलने मिला था। सीजन खत्म होने के बाद वापस छुट्टी पे गया था, तो उसके बाद ही तुरंत बुला दिया। तो मूसा कोच और आलोक भाई और कोचिंग स्टाफ उधर के, तो मुझे ट्रस्ट किया और ट्रस्ट करके मुझे अंदर खेलने दिया, तो इसके लिए मैं ग्रेटफुल रहूँगा। तो उधर बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला, और आगे भी मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि और कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकूँ इधर भी और अंडर 23 में, तो कोशिश तो पूरा रहेगा। वही बोलूँगा।
See, this was a conscious decision to fail the licensing criteria, because sometimes the licensing criteria, and even for the coming season also, the licensing criteria is such that it is very, very difficult to make it financially happen, right? Today you are talking about an under 7, under 9, under 11, under 13, under 15, under 17 teams having individual coaches, head coach and assistant coach, means you're having 7 teams and 2 coaches, which is 14 coaches. Now, why should I have a 14 coaches in an environment which is not commercially conducive for the sport? This is something which is a theoretical, which the AFF has got from the AFC, FIFA, etc., which is right. But you have to tailor make things which are practically doable from a financial point of view, right? Today, if I have a coach who's a head coach of under 7, he can be an assistant coach for under 13. Is there any harm in that? There's no harm. But there are certain things which you have to then be wise enough कि ठीक है license नहीं किया तो चलेगा. Today they are talking about getting a fitness coach which is qualified to the highest level in fitness. Now in the past 3 years, how many times have AIFF done a fitness coach exam in India to allow the Indian coaches to be a fitness coach at the highest level? You are talking about a goalkeeping coach who has to be at a certain level. Now one is sitting here, is worked everywhere all over the world. Even in the La Liga, only the La Liga coaches will have the highest qualified goalkeeping coach in the world. So, just to ensure that I do a tick mark, I'm not going to be foolish enough to spend unnecessary money. So, I prefer failing the license. What am I achieving if I fail a license? If I win a license, am I going to get 10 crores from the federation? No, right? So, as long as I am confident that what I'm doing is benefiting for the way I'm functioning as a football club, I'm not hell-bent on doing the licenses. I really don't. And I'm telling you again, last year, Rohit, where's Rohit? We were 3rd academy, right? 3-star academy, accredited. I'm telling you, we are going to be 2-star now only without the licensing, because I know where I'm going to fail and why I want to fail, right? So it's a logical decision, knowing where you want to do the right, take the right decisions, and where even if you fail, there's no problem, there's no harm. So this perception of licenses, accreditation, I would suggest that the AIFF should take all the clubs together and have a practical solution to it, where there's no harm in having 3 coaches doing 3 teams at a youth level. Boss, under 7, 9 can train in the morning, 15, 17 can play in the evening. So why do I need different coaches for different teams? Simple question I'm asking. So such certain cases you don't fulfill, then there are issues, and then you don't pass the. But if we fail because of certain paperwork which should have been done because of some lethargy of some people, then it is unacceptable as a club. Then that's not that. Then it's an issue, and that is not acceptable. But certain things where you know you are doing it because of greater interest for the club, then I think we are fine with that and we are okay with that. I think even in the first press conference 2 years back when we did, I think the first thing I said that we wanted to play in Asia, right? So if you want to play in Asia, you have to win in India, right? So, but it's easy to speak than to actually deliver. So the goal will always remain that we want to represent our country playing in Asia, which means we have to do well in the domestic competitions, whether it's the ISL or the Super Cup. As you rightly mentioned that probably you have got the maximum percentage of players coming from the Northeast, entire Northeast region, that are in different verticals of Indian football, boys and girls. So I think that adds more responsibility for us to do meaningful work on the developmental side of sports, of football, which is the youth level, the grassroots level. So I think a lot of engaging conversations have been happening over the past 2 years with regards to how we can further spread ourselves across the region. Thankfully, it starts with Meghalaya, with the land that has been allocated, and now the construction being probably going to start in the next 3 to 4 months with the the new stadium also which is coming in Shillong. Right next to that is the land where the academy also has been, the land has been given. So I think that's the first to start with. And then recently we met the donor minister also, the development of Northeastern region, to see how we can engage with respective states independently with their respective governments. So under the donor ministry, we have got a task force which has been put for different businesses, agriculture, industry, IT. So for sports also there is a different task force which has been appointed by the donor ministry. His Excellency the Governor of Manipur is the chairman of the sports committee of the donor of the Northeast region. So there are certain engaging conversations that we are having where we can try and set up our state satellite centers in every state, which then funnels into the center of excellence in Shillong. So I think that is more interesting from my perspective, because I think a lot more can be done. We are talking to the Reliance Foundation to see if we can start a sort of a competition in Meghalaya, which they are already doing in Mizoram for the last 3-4 years at a youth level. So I think we need to get more competition, we need to create more infrastructure, we need to create more such centers to then have the boys and girls from Northeast to be closer to home. And obviously if there are better opportunities, then they can move outside. So I think the focus for the next couple of years probably would be on the developmental side of our sport.
About playing in Asia and winning ISL. I'll give just a little example. We start about 2 years ago, we say, Sabar, be patient. You know, when you have a baby born, very nice, very strong, whatever you want, you cannot teach him how to run 100 meters in 10 seconds. You need to teach him how to stand, how to do the first steps, how to walk, how to run, how to speed, how to jump. Just a few days ago, I was reading an article about Paris Saint-Germain. Everybody was saying, wow, such a big club, such a fantastic club, how they play football, Europe champion. You know how much money they spent, how many years? I remember the CEO or president of Khalifa, who was receiving slaps from everyone. What happened? Money, Ronaldinho, Neymar, Messi, Ramos, I don't know who, everyone. And in the end, they played in great football with the young players. Nobody knows them. They're being criticized a lot, and they are Champions League champions and maybe World Cup champions of the clubs. This is why football depends on the small details. You know, the ball goes 2 millimeters on the right, is goal. 2 millimeters on the left is not goal. A cup is 2 millimeters, or half meter running, or half meter not running to arrive to score. It depends on a lot of things. We build it, we try to do everything necessary to win, but this is the beauty of football. It's very subjective. A lot of things happen. It doesn't depend on us. Sometimes a referee sees the ball in, and sometimes sees out. This is the beauty of football, and this is the beauty of what we're doing.
We just started right now, so it's like a precision. We have 3 weeks before. We have to train hard. We have to help the new players. We only have 5 new players, so I think it's going to be easier than last season. Remember how we were 2 seasons before and how we are now is much easier than before. But Europe Cup, we don't have pressure. There are more teams that want to win the trophy. We are one more. We are not the best team. We have to improve many things from last seasons. So keep going, train hard, and we have also important games there are no easy games there. It's cold. It's true that we play in Shillong. The weather is maybe better than here. So keep going, keep improving, and that's it. Of course, we want to win the trophy. We will give our 100%, but we have the feet on the floor.
When you ask about pressure, I think the other teams, they have pressure. We don't have any pressure because we want it to win. You know, we test it. Now we need, do we want more for that test? That's what we need to work for. And for us, the most important is not the Durand Cup, it's the first game. If you think already about the cup, you will go home in the first game. The most important game for us in the season is the next one, 2nd of August. Nothing else. After 2nd of August, we will think about the other one. The trophy is in the final. We need to win the final, but to arrive to the final, you need to win the first game. You know, as I said, don't think for running if you don't walk. Let's walk first. Let's think, be humble. You know, be focused, work hard. Nothing is easy. When they say to you, no, you're playing against Malaysian army. Hey, look what happened to Manchester City. No. The most important game of the season, the hardest game of the season, is the next one. Then we will think why we should put pressure on ourselves, thinking far away. The pressure is other teams who have pressure. They never won it. They need to win it, We already did. We'll do our best, but in the first game.
No, we have got 8 homes but 1 base. So we'll have, whether we register here or in Shillong or here, the base will be here. But we'll have 8 homes. So we are trying to have, we've still got just 2 homes now, but hopefully we can increase the homes now.
Where will the club be registered?
It's here, it's in Assam from the finance. From our CRS or a registration point of view, it will always be here. Maybe the academy, if we have the kids there, maybe the smaller kids can be registered to the Meghalaya FA. But that once we start, we will see how it helps or how it doesn't help. So that will be basis many things. So right now, it's obviously with the Assam FA.
Hello, yes. As long as I'm playing in the field in the 11 position, I'm always happy. It doesn't matter where I play, but for that question, you need to ask coach. Yes, I've experienced it. Means like watching a football match, all the games and all. That's how I learned how to play in that position. And once coach put me there, and it's, you know, with a little bit of experience and through watching and executed in the training ground, and that's how.
Itu হৈছে আমাৰ প্ৰথম মেটচখন আৰু তাৰপিছত আমি আগুৱাই গৈছিলোঁ। আমাৰ ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেল টীম গ'ল চেক কৰিছে ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেল একো নাই, এতিয়া মেইন ফ'কাছটো হৈছে টিমৰ কাৰণে কেনেকৈ কৰিছে।
You know, each team has his qualities. It depends on the players you have. You know, some teams they have players who need to touch the ball very much. Some teams they play totally defensively and try to score in set pieces. Each team has his own style. When they say, no, I like to play like that, like this, it's not true. It depends on our players. You know, if you have players not fast in the front, why you should play fast? And we are the contrary. We have very fast players, very technical with the ball. This is our style, and it will remind. The only thing, this season we brought some players, new players, to give us that deepness on the bench and deepness on different style. For example, we were talking, we're going to play in Shillong. In Shillong, we need to play in totally different style. That's what we can play in Guwahati. We will play away. Last season, we are the best team away. And in Shillong, we were the worst team because the style of players we had, I cannot say we have now. Was not matched on that field. It has nothing to do with the grass. It has nothing to do with the pitch. It's our mistake. It's our fault, and it's my mistake, especially. because maybe I didn't know, or I didn't know how to give that information, or the players to accept that information, how the side we want to play. You know, they did their best, and maybe it's my mistake not clarify exactly and work on it. But don't worry, the city will not doing the same mistake. You know, I think I will not fall down in the same stone. Okay, we are wolves, and we learn from the path. That path was different, and now we're thinking they're totally different. And you know, the most important of a team, as I said before, like Paris Saint-Germain, and that's what we're trying to do, is to play a different football every single game. Because sometimes we think, no, this is our style, we should play like this, and we don't care. It's not true. We need to know how the other teams play, because they prepare for you. Before the first season, we were surprised. Last season, half-half. But now everybody's waiting for us. We need to create a different style, depend on the game, to surprise them, and to be solid, to believe that we are good players, we are a good team, but no trust. We need to fight.
ফিজিকেল এডুকেশ্যন বিষয়ত ডিগ্ৰী পাঠ্যক্ৰমৰ কাৰণে অসম তথা উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ প্ৰথমখন শিক্ষানুষ্ঠান অভিৰুচি ইনষ্টিটিউট অৱ ফিজিকেল এডুকেশ্যন 2 বছৰীয়া ফিজিকেল এডুকেশ্যনৰ BPEd পাঠ্যক্ৰম আৰু 4 বছৰীয়া BPES পাঠ্যক্ৰমৰ বাবে নামভৰ্তি চলি আছে বিতংকৈ জানিবৰ বাবে আজি যোগাযোগ কৰক যোগাযোগৰ নম্বৰসমূহ হৈছে 9435100098 7002 33540 88765 21098 website www.aipguwahati.in